There we go. Are we live? We are live. Woo-hoo! Thank God. There we go. Good evening, everybody. We are very excited to welcome Night Shift out of Massachusetts to the shelves at Whitey's and to our little virtual chat here. A couple things I want to talk about before we get with Meghan. Tomorrow night we're actually doing a live tasting with Night Shift. Meghan's coming down. She's flying in from Bradley tomorrow to BWI. She's going to be in the shop from like 4:30 to 6:30 sampling. So if you're curious and you're watching this and you want to try some Night Shift beers, come on by. We got the whole, I don't know what we're doing exactly tomorrow, but we got the whole gamut of whatever came available in Maryland. We got it in today. So that's exciting, including some seltzers, which I think Meghan might be drinking one of those right now. So that's pretty exciting. So they have seltzers, a bunch of 16-ounce cans, some 12-packs. So it'll be pretty fun. And then Saturday, for everybody, we are doing a festival with our friends from Devil's Backbone. So our friends Moonstone, who you might have seen on some of these live streams that we did last year. Moonstone is going to be the live act. So they'll be playing some songs, and we're going to be tasting some of the smash cocktails from Devil's Backbone and the new sort of 12-pack they have, which is all IPAs, which has kind of cool labeling and stuff. So we're going to have them. And we are going to have a tattoo parlor, not real tattoos. We got some fake tattoos. So anybody out there that wants to be a tattooist for the day, hit me up because I need a volunteer to run the tattoo booth. So there you go. So that's kind of what's happening. And then on the 18th of June, more and more of this will be coming out, but we have our Other Side Festival coming up with the guys from Other Side and a bunch of breweries at Other Side reps like Aslan, 2SB, Firm's there, Pariah's there, Idiom is there, Dewey is there, First State will be there, Magnify out of Jersey's going to be there. So some pretty cool breweries coming. Our man Drew from Drew plays drums. He's going to be the musical guest. So we got a lot happening. So keep it tuned to the Facebook pages, the Instagram pages, the blah, 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 every social media page that you can think of will probably have something to do with it. And now, without further ado, we are going to bring my good friend Meghan, formerly of, you might remember from the live stream we did, what was that, about 2 years ago?
About 2 years ago.
Yeah, about 2 years ago now. Beginning of pandemic. Can you believe it's gone on this long?
Yeah, that must have been an early guess.
Right? Who would have guessed it would have lasted this? Originally, it was what? A month? People were stocking up for 2 weeks, and it lasted 2 years. So, anyway, what are you going to do? So, anyway, Meghan used to be with Two Roads, and now, during the pandemic, she actually went to Night Shift as the national sales director.
Yep, senior sales director.
Senior sales. So tell us a little bit about Night Shift, because I don't really know much about them. I know they started in Massachusetts. I know they have several locations in Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. I feel like they have beer gardens and maybe restaurants too. I don't know. So tell us about them, because I honestly don't know that much about them.
Yeah. So Night Shift started in 2012. So basically 3 friends were all living together in Somerville, Mass after college. They were homebrewing. Their beers were pretty good for homebrewing. They would work all day, corporate jobs, come home, brew all night. Then they started to have parties because they, that's what 23-year-olds do. And they were inviting people and just said, just come drink our beer. We got to get rid of it. We have all this beer we're brewing. So people would come. Then eventually the feedback was important. People were telling them that it was great and that they should switch over to it. So they started having people fill out comment cards. That was the only caveat. No charge, no cover charge. Just fill out a comment.
Oh, really? That's kind of cool.
Yeah. And the comments continuously read, you guys should quit your day job and do this professionally. So the name Night Shift comes from the fact that it was their night shift, but they decided to listen to their smart friends and family and open up Night Shift and quit their jobs and start up in Everett, Mass. So the original location, I don't know, Rob, if you ever went there. that was my first introduction to Night Shift. So call it 2014 Extreme Beer Festival. I was there repping Two Roads. I tried Everweiss, which is a amazing sour beer with kiwis, strawberries. Back then it was in 750 milliliters, and I kept going back for it. I loved it. The next day I went to their brewery, which was at the time down a dark alley in this industrial building. Next to it happened to be another brewery called Idle Hands, but it was a very precarious building that you would have to get through. And then you'd walk in and there's this tiny tap room and the guys were brewing on a 3-barrel system. And since then they've come a long way. Now the number 3 craft brand in Massachusetts after 2 national brands, you may guess. So in terms of regional, one of the bigger regional brands in Massachusetts and in the Northeast. But 3 friends are still owners, all, private money, no big beer money, no venture capitalists or anything like that. We've gone to a new facility as well in Everett. And then we have a few other facilities, like you mentioned. Right outside of the TD Garden, there is a R&D brew pub and restaurant called Lovejoy.
Okay.
They specialize in beer, obviously, as well as seltzers and coffee and the other things that we do. But they also specialize in Detroit-style pizza.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's so good. They were ranked the number 1 pizza in Boston in 2021. So it's pretty damn good. And this is from a New Yorker who lives in New Haven, Connecticut.
It has really good pizza in New Haven, Connecticut.
Yes.
Like really good.
Yes, some would say the best. But yeah, it's incredible. The food's incredible. We've also grown from not just beer, but we do seltzers. We do a whole line of coffee, which is really amazing. Since
that's kind of cool. Is it canned or is it?
Both. So we do
cold
brew. The cold brew is just limited distribution. We sell it at our facilities. But then we do whole bean, which we distribute in some facet, mostly to a couple of supermarkets in the Boston area, Whole Foods, Roach Brothers, some high-end markets like that. And they're delicious. I've become a coffee nerd as well as a beer nerd.
Yeah, I think a little bit of that rubs off, right? I feel like there's a lot of people that have that sort of like, they're into like, if you're into beer, then you kind of branch out into other things. Coffee is one of them for the morning, and then the beer in the afternoon and stuff. Yeah, it's interesting how people have sort of like gone into that. I didn't realize they had coffee though. That's kind of cool.
Coffee's great. Yeah, Rob Burns, who is the president and one of the 3 founders, explained it to me as just like you said, my taste has grown. I drink beer, but I also drink coffee. I also drink wine. We have a private label wine. We have a Willamette Valley Pinot Noir. We have an Albarino. Those are, again, just really they're for sale, takeaway bottles at our locations. But the coffee you could get throughout Massachusetts at specialty places.
I feel like that's a good idea too, especially because like they have restaurants, obviously. But it's also a good idea for people coming into like a tap room, like they're with friends and maybe they're not down with like, maybe they don't like beer, basically. Mm-hmm. So now the seltzers, the wine's an option. I mean, every state is different. So if it's your own wine label, you can serve it in the tap. Can they serve that in the tap room?
Yep.
All right. So every state has like weird laws like concerning that stuff. So that's great. Like I didn't know any of that. I actually don't think I've ever been to any of the night shifts. I'm trying to remember, but I bet I would remember if it was down a shady alley.
No, well, we left that spot about 5 years ago and built a really nice facility in Everett, Mass. Now the old brewery is where the Encore Casino is.
Okay.
Yeah, so the building is no longer there. It's now a big casino, but we're less than a mile down the road from there, and it's a beautiful facility. You got to let me know next time you're up. I'll make sure.
Yeah, and like Idle Hands is still in existence too. I'm not sure where they moved to, but a friend of mine really likes Idle Hands stuff. So, and I know they're like up in that area still, maybe Braintree or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's cool. That's really good. So, like the beers. Let's talk a little bit about these beers. I'm going to grab some, actually.
Yeah, please do. Join me.
So we love the owl logo, actually.
Yep. Yes, got the owl. We have a pretty broad mix of beers.
Yes.
What you're holding is very IPA focused. So
Right.
obviously all craft breweries have a lot of IPAs, that kind of, but we run the gambit of styles within that. So Whirlpool, the one you're showing there, is a New England Pale Ale. So it's nice because it's 4.5%. It's hazy, it's on trend, but it's light. It's easy drinking. You could call it sessionable, but I'm a fan of pale ales, always have been. That's my go-to style. So It's really juicy, again, hazy, citrus forward, just a really delicious.
Well, you've talked me into it, Megan. Very convincing. We're gonna crack this one first, and then we'll talk about. I don't want to crack them all because I won't drink them all, or we'll either never get off this live stream, or I'll be so drunk nobody will be able to understand. So this is
Santilli.
So is this the original? Is this the original flagship? No.
So we did a beer for a long time called Morph. And every iteration was a different brew. So when creating a flagship, which that pretty much is our flagship, we actually crowdsourced the recipe and asked which one of the Morph recipes people liked the best.
Okay.
And Santilli was the winner of that. So it was kind of the decision of the recipe was crowdsourced from feedback from our customers.
Why don't we do that? I'll do that first.
Okay.
That'll probably be the beer I drink. And then we'll talk about 87 and Fluffy.
Perfect. And then we'll also talk about, I'm drinking a Daylight, which is a brand new beer. So we'll talk about the light series as well at some point.
That's the wheat with blood orange.
Cara oranges.
Ooh.
Which is my all-time favorite citrus fruit. If you know, you know. Cara orange has a nice sweetness to it. They're amazing, mostly in the winter. But we'll hop back to the light series. Santilli, our address is 87 Santilli Highway. So if you're wondering where that name
came I was wondering what that was.
Yeah. So really more of a West Coast IPA. It's not, there's a sheen to it, but it is more malt forward, more bitterness.
That's what it looks like, gang.
Yep.
And my special shout out to Brand My Beverage. This is I don't know. I was at Brand My Beverage, which is the glass producer around here, and they had this random glass on the shelf, and it's all highlights of Boston.
Amazing.
So and way on there, it's got the Constitution. So I was like, "Can I have that glass?" And they're like, "Sure, take it." So, cheers. Good to see you.
Cheers. Thank you for having me. So yeah, Santilli, again, leans more West Coast, Pacific Northwest hops, some sea hops in there. It is 6.5%. It's really just crispy. I'm a fan of hops, hop flavor, hop aroma. I know everyone leans hazy and citrus forward and lower bitterness with their IPAs these days, which we have that. We check those boxes. But This is for an IPA lover, someone who really enjoys the flavor of hops.
This is and it's light. You're right. It's super crisp. This is a nice summer beer. Yeah. This is like the perfect sort of, it's not as hoppy as you would think when people say American IPA, like now there's a big thing, like everybody feels like everybody's going back to West Coast and the sea hops and all that kind of stuff. I feel like it's a little bit lighter than that and way more sessionable, especially for 6.5.
As opposed to saying it is a West Coast IPA, I like to say it leans West Coast because it is an American IPA. It's kind of in the middle, and it's not completely filtered out. There, like I said, is a sheen to it, but it's certainly not a hazy, certainly not a New England. I wouldn't call it a West Coast. I just would say it leans that way.
Now, this comes in 16s, and doesn't it come in 12s too?
It does. Yep.
Yeah, I think we got the 12 packs in today. This is a perfect 12 pack beer.
Yeah.
Are you guys finding, because you do a lot of core offerings, like basically everything we've got in is basically core, right? Like Whirlpool, 87, Fluffy, this one. Do you see a shift back to core?
I see both. I mean, I think you need to have your hands in everything right now.
Right.
I don't think you could rely solely on a flagship. I mean, look at Sierra Nevada. They can't rely solely on pale ale anymore like they used to, even though it's one of the best beers, ever made. We know that.
Right.
But they still need to innovate with, the wild, hazy little things as well. So I think you need to play both worlds. I don't think you could say we're going to put all our eggs in the core basket or we're going to put all our eggs in innovation. So balancing that, finding that balance is important. So we have a lot of core coming down your way, but we also have a couple of specialty items. We have a one from our Weiss series that just came out called Slushy Weiss that we were sending some down, and then a beer called Proud, which is a double dry hopped IPA, where a portion of the portion of the proceeds is going to an LGBTQ plus Boston-based charity.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. I mean, I think it's like the one good thing I noticed about these beers too is the price point's very good. And like, I feel like that's a real issue at this point. And that's what I mean by like kind of going back to core, right? Because people like gas is expensive, blah, blah, blah. So now you go into the beer store, you're going to be like, do I really want to spend $25 for a 4-pack? Mm-hmm. This is that nice option where it's in that $16.99 range, $15.99. I can't remember the pricing now, but it's like it's that nice sweet spot pricing. So
yeah,
which I think is a real advantage to maybe bigger breweries, but I think overall you guys are how many states?
We are Maryland will be our 8th or 9th state. Off the top of my head. We just added Jersey.
Maryland up. Right. It's mostly Maryland up.
Maryland up with the exception of Delaware. We're not in Delaware yet.
Okay. So I feel like people are like very like into, I mean, they want bang for their buck, but they also want to have, they don't want to spend $1 million for beer.
Yes, I should correct myself to say DC up because as we launch with Legends, we're also doing DC with it. So just a correction. Okay. But I think that we, as we have styles that really fill any flavor profile, we have a price point that fills any pocket. So if you're looking at Daylight, Nightlight, it's a lot more affordable. Looking at a $15.99, sometimes $14.99 12-pack. And then you're looking at Santilli and Whirlpool more in the $18.99, $19.99 12-pack range. Right. And then we have 4-packs that are $16.99, like some of our limited releases, like Fluffy 87. If you're looking for a high-end craft 4-pack and are willing to, shell out for it a little bit more, that's more the $16.99 range. But we want to make sure that we could hit any size wallet.
Yeah, I think that's personally, I think that's a pretty smart play. Plus, now you guys are doing. Like we got seltzers in today, which is kind of cool. And I really was looking at them and I was like, well, these are very unique flavors. And that's my thing with seltzers. A lot of times, like the flavors are pretty much the same flavor for everybody. You know what I mean? But you had like a strawberry yuzu or something. There was a bunch of super cool flavors because there's 2 different variety packs.
So there's a tropical fruit and there's a core. We call it the OG variety pack. Every seltzer, though, is dual fruit. So we have kiwi, strawberry, blood orange, mango in the regular, and then in the tropical, we have a yuzu passion fruit. We have everything's a blend. Nothing is a single fruit. And we actually use a wine yeast in our seltzers. So it gives a nice dryness to it. It does not have that, aspartame fake flavor to it, natural flavors. And the wine yeast really does a lot for backing up those flavors.
That's pretty interesting. How long have they been making seltzers since kind of it started, or they just jumped on board? They were like, "Hey, let's try it, see what it does." Because I know kind of Massachusetts, they were a little bit ahead of the curve on seltzers because of Truly. Yeah. So people saw how that kind of took off, and so there was a lot of places like Wachusett did one for a while that was actually available in Maryland, like years ago now. Before Truly even launched here, Wachusett was available. So have they been doing it for a while, or they just were like, we'll give it a shot, see how they do?
Yeah, don't fact check me, but I believe that the original OG Hoot came out in 2019. And then the Tropical, I know, came out this time last year. It came out in April of 2021.
And they've had a good run with those, right? It seems like
the number 1 craft seltzer in Massachusetts, the number 7 seltzer overall in Massachusetts. So that includes White Claw, Truly, Vizzy's, all that. But if you're looking at the craft seltzers, we are outselling some of the bigger brands. Some great seltzers too, like Arctic Summer and Willie's Super Brew. And this is going off of, not to go down a boring rabbit hole, but IRI data. So basically it's grocery scanner data. That's the best that, you get when looking at competitive sets. But yes, like I said, the number 1 craft seltzer in Massachusetts.
That's cool. I mean, it's a category that's not going away, right? I mean, it's here. I mean, some of them might fall off. Some, you might lose some of them, but overall, that is not a category that's going anywhere.
Yeah, we're actually expanding it a bit too. In the summer in Massachusetts, we're coming out with a product called Pink Drink, which is a little bit of a ambiguous FMB, but it's a tropical fruit punch seltzer. But we're just calling it Pink Drink, and it has a great bright pink label. At the brewery, we've done Hoot Mango Limeade and Hoot Limeade, which is a nice twist on the seltzer take. I mean, they're not going anywhere. There's more coming out. So being able to expand and differentiate within our seltzer line is important, because you want to have more than just black cherry,
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I always see seltzers and I'm like, oh, yeah, and I think a lot of places are doing that. You're seeing special edition packs and stuff, and they're trying to expand like from the original sort of whatever flavors. So
we also have, let me see if it was coming your way. It's not yet. But if you make some noise, I'm sure we could send it down. But we have another product called Hoot Louder. That's an 8% berry seltzer.
Okay.
So that's a single SKU. That's not a variety pack. But it's nice, the 8%. It does well up in New England because it's, again, a different product.
Yeah, it's in that like sort of that White Claw surge. And I think like Oscar Blues may have done one similar to that, which is a higher ABV version of it.
We've been out for at least about a year and a half now too. So we've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, that's hey, again, you might as well. Let's get back to beer, because this is really a beer show, not a seltzer show.
Cool.
But like, now this beer is actually a World Beer Cup winner.
It is. Yeah, it is.
So 2-3 years ago now.
Yeah, and then we just last month, Hop Culture came out with a list of it's either 13 or 23. I know the number 3 is popping out. I think it's 13 best IPAs available right now. And we just made that list too. So that was, we're continuing. This beer has been around for a long time, and we're continuing to get accolades and continuing to be a standout.
That's awesome. Again, I feel like this is a really good sort of summer beer. That 12 pack, 12 ounce at that price point is excellent. Like this will probably be in my fridge pretty much all summer. This and whatever local lager, like probably Unions, but like these two things would be in my fridge all summer. Because I've sort of gotten away. I don't know we've been in the beer business for a while, and I've sort of gotten away from. I don't drink that much anymore, one, and number two, I just like having like easy drinking beers hanging around.
Yeah,
I don't need the crazy, whatever seltzers and sours and all that kind of stuff.
I will never say no to a sour. That's for sure. Sours are. But
that's good, because when you come tomorrow, you're gonna get a surprise. You're gonna get the Beer Guy variety pack.
Oh yeah.
I have like 4 different things that I've done in the last year that I still have some of. So there's a marshmallow peach sour, which is pineapple and peach. There's a snowballs, the Hostess snowballs. Yeah, there's a snowballs milk stout with coconut and vanilla. What else do I have? Oh, this one called an Ambrosia sour, which you're gonna love that beer. That beer is killer. That beer is killer. And then I think there's like one other one that we did a chocolate. We did a chocolate amber.
Oh, nice.
For fish tour last year. So.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
I like
So
that.
you're gonna get that nice variety pack tomorrow.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. That's perfect. That'll be great for my night when I leave you tomorrow. I told you I'm going to Ocean City. So once I get there, I'll need some beer. It'll be perfect.
There you go. Let me know what you think. All right. Let's move on to what do we want to do? Fluffy?
Yes. Let's do Fluffy before 87.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm going to finish this off and then I'm going to crack Fluffy.
Okay. So Fluffy is a 7% New England IPA. It is delicious. It tastes like it sounds fluffy. I mean, it's very pillowy. The mouthfeel is just cushy, pillowy. We use Citra Cryo, Simcoe Cryo, Idaho 7-inch Chinook in there. So it is a New England. So we're trying to lower the bitterness, but it's hop prominent.
I have come to really, really like Simcoe beers. In the last couple of years, I've had several. One's a Widowmaker beer. That's look at that. That's beauty. Wait, let me turn on this light.
It's like orange juice.
Yeah, it looks great. Whoa. Turn that down, son. Ooh, that's a little better. Yeah, that's better lighting. That's better lighting for that beer. Look at that. That's beautiful.
Put next to a glass of Tropicana, you won't even know the difference.
Exactly. And I've really started to dig Simcoe beers. Like Widowmaker makes that really good one, that Blue Comet. There was a couple local places that like stressed Simcoe. And I don't know, it was one of those things where you were like, in a hazy, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I'm going to dig that. And I've liked every one of them. So
Simcoe is interesting. It could be directed in different ways. You'll get some cattiness from it in some ways. You could get some blueberry from it. You could get some grass from it. It's definitely a pretty dynamic hop.
This is delicious.
Yeah.
This beer is killer. And this is all the time, or is this a sort of special edition?
Nope, that's a core. That's a core. Yeah, part of our hoppy core lineup. So all the ones that you're tasting in that 4-pack are available year-round.
Okay. So we're going to put together actually a 4-pack for the tasting tomorrow with these 4.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're going to have those available for the tasting tomorrow so people can come in and try them, and they have the option of buying a 4-pack of Fluffy, or they have the option of buying a 4-pack of the variety. I feel like variety packs, especially that way, where people are like, I don't know if I'm going to like this, work really well, because they just get one, and like, craft people are, they really just want to try the newest thing,
right?
But they don't want to commit.
Well, I think it's just nice too to, we're a new brewery to the state, so you could sample everything, and I'll be slinging samples while I'm there. So yes, we could talk about it and taste, but there's nothing like going home and having a full beer. So to be able to go home with a mixed 4-pack and be able to actually, enjoy, sip on it, see how it hits you. Then you go back and you pick your favorite and keep supporting what you like.
Yeah, and you can bring it home and share. There's 16, so you can share them with people at home that maybe didn't get to come out to the tasting or whatever.
Right.
So I love this beer. This beer is killer.
Yeah, it really is. It's not. It looks like juice, but it has a really, like I said, cloudy, pillowy type of mouthfeel.
It's really soft.
Mm-hmm.
It's really soft and juicy, but there's no real bitterness. It's like silk.
Yeah, hop forward, but not bitter, for sure.
Right, exactly. Wow, very impressed. I love it.
I'm glad you like it. And 7% is a nice ABV.
Yeah, I feel like that's the wheelhouse for most people too.
Yeah. I love a good 5.5 to 7.5. That's once I get over is when it starts getting. I enjoy them still, but it depends where I am. Setting obviously can't be driving. Need to make sure that if it's a nightcap, then an 8% is perfect. If it's 7 o'clock, I'm about to go to a game or a fish show or something. That's like the 5.5.
This is the one. Did I know you're a dead person, but did you see any of the? We're going off. We're totally going off track. Did you see any of the or hear any of the Billy Strings weird stuff from the Ryman?
I did just hear it actually today on. I don't know if I was on Jam On or
they have a Relics channel that it might have been on.
Yeah, but I was just listening to it and it said Strings and Weir, and I was like, oh, and it was great. I haven't seen Billy Strings yet, but he's opening, or not opening, but I'm in September. Knock on wood, Willie Nelson. I got tickets for, and he's
nice.
The Outlaw music.
Oh, the Outlaw thing.
Yeah,
Billy Strings is actually doing 2 nights in Baltimore in July.
I'm actually lying. I saw him open up for Green Sky Bluegrass years ago before his Grammy. Yeah.
I did too. Yeah, he's actually he's 2 nights in Baltimore.
Nice.
The first weekend in July, because he's doing the first night of Peach, I think, and then he's coming to Baltimore and doing those 2 nights. Which is crazy, but I mean that guy worked through the whole pandemic.
He did. There's a good venue
drive-in shows. Yeah, I mean, he was doing drive-in shows. He was doing so much that like he sort of became the darling of the jam band scene.
Well, he blew up. I mean, that Grammy was probably 2019 or 2020, right before COVID. He had to keep it going, you know.
Right, exactly. But I mean, everybody he's sat in with like everybody, so like pretty much. So yeah.
Are you going to go?
I'm pretty excited for those shows. He did a show at Union years ago that like I didn't go to, which I'm kind of bummed about. And my buddy did the poster for it. And that poster alone is like on eBay, like it's like whatever, $1,000, something crazy. Because it was a really small run of posters and stuff. It was cool. So good for him.
Yeah, it's a good music weekend. I'm seeing if it's the first weekend in July, I'm seeing Phil Lesh. But Dead & Co.'s up here too. I don't do Dead & Co. though. I think we've talked about that.
Yeah, we've talked about that. I'm doing this is kind of funny. And I'll try to put the woman on your stuff when she comes in. So there's a woman that comes into the store who buys riders for bands. Like they play a venue called Soundstage in Baltimore, which is kind of a small venue, and it's more of a metal venue, but whatever. And she came in a little while ago and she needed Peroni because they don't sell Peroni at Soundstage. So I got a case of Peroni and it turns out it was for the Psychedelic Furs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was so weird, right? And I was like, and then like I think it got canceled because of COVID or something. But like she was like, oh, if you want to go, just let me know. Like Twiddle was there and I was really sick, so I couldn't go. But like for the Psychedelic Furs, that's July 1st and then the 2 Billy String shows.
Nice.
So that'll be a killer weekend.
That's a good weekend.
Yeah, that's a fun weekend. And then the following weekend is I'm doing 2 Dead & Company shows. I have to do it.
Yeah, hey, most people love them. I just and I've been.
Well, I feel like this is the end of the run. So
yeah,
you know what I mean.
I went to the first show. I want to say like their very first show, Madison Square Garden, Halloween weekend, 2000.
Whatever. 15,
17,
right?
18, whatever it was. They're very
before. It was a while ago. Surprisingly, it had to be like 15 or 16. It was a long time ago. Like you lose those 2 years because of COVID. That's the problem. So,
right.
I'm doing Philly and I'm doing probably here.
Mm-hmm.
So
I haven't been down there yet. I haven't done Merriweather yet. I have to.
Yeah, Fish is doing 2 nights at Merriweather, which I'm very excited about.
They're doing Hartford this year. I know we're not talking beer anymore. We're talking music. This is my last comment is they're doing Hartford. I wanted to go, but I'm going to Elton John's farewell tour that night. You got to mix it up. You know, I haven't.
Where's that? Where's that?
MetLife Stadium.
Oh, nice. That'll be cool.
That'll be great.
That'll be fun. That'll be super fun. All right, we got to get back to beer.
Yeah, we'll get back to beer. We'll talk tomorrow.
We'll talk music tomorrow. Yeah, so this is Fluffy. So this is part of the core series. And then I'm probably not going to crack this, but let's talk about 87, and then we can get into
the Light series. Yeah.
The Light series. So this is 87, which is a double. Is it basically this amped up? No.
It's not. No, it's not. So it's we're really going in kind of order of terms of flavor profile and ABV, right? So we started Whirlpool, Santilli, Fluffy. The 87 is Ella Citra and Chinook. So completely different hop build. And it's 8%. So it's going to have definitely a little bit, more bite to it. You're going to get some more bite if you're looking for like a nice pack and a punch. Then the 87
it's that Chinook that does that.
Sorry.
It's definitely Chinook that does that.
Yeah. The Chinook brings a lot of flavor to it. But another great beer, like I said, our core lineup really with the hoppy ones, anything you're looking for. If you're looking for sessionable, if you're looking for bigger, stronger, and then we run the gambit in between.
Do you guys do lagers?
We'll talk about the light series.
Let's do it.
All right. So the light series is right now we have 3 options. So it started with Nightlight. Nightlight is, so the brewers were finding, we're going back 5-6 years. They were brewing all these fantastic IPAs, but as often many of us do, they were getting hopped out. So they would, be drinking High Lifes or whatever after a shift. And they kind of looked at each other and were like, why are we buying High Life? We could do this, and we could do this, better. No high fructose corn syrup. They don't brew with any rice. There's corn, but there's no rice in it.
Right.
So making sure that they could use quality ingredients to brew a better light beer. So that's where Nightlight came from. It is a low ABV. It is 4%. It is so price conscious. So a 4-pack runs for like $8, depending on where you are, give or take $1. And then 12 packs around that $14.99, $15.99.
Yeah, it's 14. Yeah, it's $14.99. I have it for $14.99. So yes.
But it tastes exactly like a domestic lager. So if that's what you like and you're looking to break into craft, it's absolutely perfect. Even if you're already in craft, but enjoy an occasional, call it High Life. This is a craft version of that. But it is very similar in profile. It's easy drinking, crushable. We do it in 16 ounce, and then we do the 12 ounce, 12 packs as well.
Do they do 16 ounce? Are you guys like in stadiums in Mass?
Yeah.
Like, are you in the Garden and stuff like that?
Yeah. So actually with Whirlpool more so. So we do have Nightlight in the Garden, and I was actually at the Garden earlier today. So there's a nice sign there. We do Nightlight there. But at Fenway, we have Whirlpool 16s. And we actually have them in the hawkers, the guys that go around and
sweet.
Yeah, that was a new one this year. We're really pumped about that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I was always wondering with with Sam being the predominant brand there, I was just like, I didn't know how open they were to other local craft brands, and if you know what I mean. Like Budweiser's pretty much no, but I didn't know how open Sam was, being that they're like this real sponsor. I know like Harpoon's still in there, and I've seen like Narragansett's in there now too.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they're growing with their fan base and diversifying. I mean, you look at TD, they have like a beer garden. It's indoors, obviously, but they have a craft beer section, a craft beer garden inside, where they have Nightlight, Whirlpool, but then they have it next to Allagash, and I think there might be a Fiddlehead in there. I mean, they're stepping up their craft options for sure. And then as far as Sam goes with Boston beer, they are the official beer of the Boston Red Sox. Right. But they also understand the need for, people, they used to, I'm a Mets fan, this, we've talked about this. Right. There's a little craft beer section in Citi Field where the line was always huge. I would go from wherever I was in the stadium to the craft beer booth to get a good beer because I don't want to drink Bud Light. And that's what they find. And now I think I haven't been to Citi in a year or two, but there's more craft in more places because they make a damn good margin on it. Those 16 ounces that they sell there, they sell for a really good margin, and people are buying them.
Right. Yeah. I mean that tracks. I was just wondering about how the reaction was to it there, as opposed to because people will search it out. Like obviously the Mets are probably Budweiser heavy.
Yeah.
New York in general, I feel like, is Budweiser heavy.
Very much so. So I grew up in Long Island, and It's funny. There's always like, locality to these big beers as well. Like we were, Long Island was Budweiser, Bud Light. You go to some places, it's Coors. You go to others, it's High Life. Some might be Amstel. I don't know, but we were not Bud heavy, no pun intended, but definitely one of that was the domestic of choice, and probably still is. I wouldn't know anymore, but I'm sure it still is. But again, the consumer's getting savvier. People are looking for more. So why let Bud, Miller, Coors have all the fun in that world when, again, we could make it with natural ingredients, and make it so that the now adult version of you who still likes to go back and drink something where they're proud to still support an independent craft brewery.
Well, plus, I mean, in a place like Boston, I feel like if people recognize the name Night Shift, there's a place across the street from the Garden so they're supporting local because they recognize the importance of local businesses. So I mean, it just sort of goes hand in hand, right? So I mean, that's why I feel like that's why a lot of these places, they kind of had to let local brands in just because people are very local savvy now.
Sure.
And they're like, maybe they know somebody that works there, or they've seen it at their local liquor store, or you know what I mean? So it just kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, I can get Budweiser wherever, but like, I'm here. This is a special night out. I'm paying all this money anyway. So why not? This just enhances the experience.
Absolutely. People are always looking to try what's new too. So being able to have those options. So in addition to Nightlight, we also have Limelight, which is what it sounds like, a light lager. And these are all 100 calories too, and check all the boxes. And they really check a lot of boxes, right? So the lager drinker, the domestic drinker, the better for you drinker. But we have Limelight, which has natural lime flavors. And then this bad boy, so this is Daylight. And this is
the one we got. We got this in today, right?
Yes, and you're getting Nightlight in, but unfortunately the package run didn't make the truck, so it's coming this week, but later.
Okay.
For the Nightlight. But Daylight is a wheat-based lager with Cara orange peel. What I love about this is it's not a Belgian, so it is not. Yes, we may get Blue Moon drinkers and Allagash white drinkers, but it's also very different from them because it's an American ale yeast. So it's super just juicy, bright. I've been absolutely loving this. It's been my beer of choice, and I'm not typically a fruited wheat beer drinker, but something about the lager yeast with it just really blends together so perfectly for me.
I'm excited to try it because I saw it come in today, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And I think I a little bit confused it with, because Jack's Abbey does kind of a similar with blood orange or whatever. And I was like, oh, that would be an interesting compare and contrast. Right. And then I saw on yours, it was like 100 calorie. And I was like, I bet that's legit.
Yeah.
But the lime one sounds really good because it sounds like a really good version of Bud Light Lime, basically.
That's exactly what it's modeled after.
Right. But like, I'm very interested to try it. I'm actually really interested to try that tomorrow. So
I love this. I would love it if it didn't have 100 calories, which is an added benefit. I fit in a wedding dress in 4 weeks, so it's an added benefit.
That's right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Where are you guys honeymooning? Do you know?
We're probably going to Ireland next year.
Okay.
So going to Ireland next year. We're getting married at a campground though. So we rented out the whole campground. You'd like this. I have 3 sets of music. I have a guy who's doing acoustic kind of dead stuff for the cocktail hour, a funk band, and then a 3-piece bluegrass band around the fire pit.
That's awesome. Where's the campground?
In Orange, Connecticut.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Right. That's super cool.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. A big shindig. Got a lot of people coming.
I got a lot of family. It couldn't be small even if we wanted it, but now it's about 150 people.
Nice, but is everybody staying overnight in the camp? Like you have the whole campground?
We have the whole campground. Yeah, most people are staying either there's some cabins or camping out, and then we have a hotel for the more bougie guests, like my immediate family. They're like, we'll go to the hotel.
Is
So
your mom staying in the hotel?
yeah,
Or
oh
she
yeah. Actually, my
camping?
mom stayed at my house, but yeah. My mom's like, I'm not camping.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's gonna be that'll be a killer wedding.
Yeah, and obviously there'll be good beer. We'll have tons of night shift. I have Phil Markowski hooking me up with some two roads. I'll have some locals from New England Brewing Company we're big fans of. So we'll definitely have a nice beer selection as well.
Are you still involved in the thing with Alyssa with that scholarship thing?
The Change in the Air Fest?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was really run by Connecticut festivals. However, I'm really tight with that group still, and we are a visiting brewery this year. So Night Shift is June Father's Day weekend. So the Saturday before Father's Day, it was 17th, 18th.
Right.
And it's really great. They've gotten some cool interaction now from out of state breweries. So Night Shift will be there, but I know they were collabing with Lawson's. They were doing a collab with Bissell Brothers.
Really?
Yeah. It's gotten, I mean, it's such a great event, really merging the craft beer world with, we talked about this on the last visit, but it's a Black cultural festival. So all the vendors are Black owned businesses. There's all the money goes to the Sacred Heart University Black Brewers Scholarship Fund. So it's amazing. We're happy. Although I'm not as involved being now from an out of state brewer and not being in the Connecticut Brewers Guild, I'm a huge supporter.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great that's a great thing. I not that long ago I watched an Instagram live and had Elisa, somebody from New England.
Jamal.
Yeah, I think so. Mike Ship from Athletic.
Yep. Yeah.
And one other person who I can't remember, and I was just like, "This is super cool." So I'm glad you guys are still like at least tangentially involved in them because I feel like that's a really great cause. Is there any plans for sort of in the Boston area to like hook up with somebody? Has that even been approached?
It hasn't been approached as far as I know in terms of like the local guild, but I could be wrong. I don't know if there's a brewing school, a program at any of the universities either. I mean, still, I know there's one at the University of Vermont in Vermont, obviously, and then there's a Sacred Heart of Brewing Science program. Now they're coming on more rapidly, so there may be. I just don't know off the top of my head. And again, the whole point of the original thought of the festival was to raise money for the endowed scholarship.
Right. Yeah, that looks super cool, and I remember them saying it was like really taking off. That's the same weekend I have my little festival, the inaugural Break On Through Festival, which I'm very excited about.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, next year for the second annual, please make some room. I'll come down and have. That's the week before I get married. So this year's.
I'll have to talk to the other because it's all other side distributors, but.
Oh, okay.
But I could make room for you.
Okay. I'd appreciate it. So give me till next year. I'm going to be up to here in wedding stuff that weekend. It's the week before, so the week after.
That's right. So you're getting married on the 18th?
No, June 25th.
Okay, so you're the weekend. Yeah, you'll have a lot of stuff going on that weekend.
Yeah, we are going to make my fiance and I are going to take a break and go over to the Change in the Air Fest. Though Night Shift is pouring, but we're going to pop by for a couple of hours because it's just an awesome fest.
Is your fiance a beer fan?
He's in the cannabis industry.
Ooh.
We sound a lot cooler than we are.
Is it? Now, I know it's legal in Mass. Is it legal in Connecticut? Yes, it is legal in Connecticut. No?
It's passed to be recreational, although it's not fully in effect. Right now, it's medical. So he works for a medical grow house.
Okay. And it's legal in Rhode Island.
Yeah. Rhode Island, I believe, is recreational. Connecticut, I think, fully recreational by 2024, but it's decriminalized to the point of, you could smoke a joint in front of a cop if you wanted to, and
Right.
not get anything.
Do you we're going way off beer, but do you think it's a help or a hindrance to the liquor industry overall?
I read a lot on that. I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff on that. I guess it's yet to be seen. I think that the idea or the fear isn't necessarily that people will stop drinking because cannabis is available. But, you look at somewhere like Colorado, does it slow down the intake to, say, a bar? Does someone go outside for 20 minutes, smoke a joint, come in, and maybe they don't want that second beer, or maybe they just drink it a lot slower?
Right.
So nothing is going to eliminate the beer industry. It's too strong, innovative, passionate. I think that it's certainly, there will be new passions that develop from the legalization of cannabis.
Right.
I'm someone who has enjoyed cannabis for, God, 2 decades now.
Right.
But I still have a passion for beer. I love beer. It doesn't, for me, hinder it. But I mean, different people consume alcohol and cannabis in different ways. So I guess it really just depends on the person.
Yeah, and I feel like with beer, I mean, the difference is with beer, it's like, like gluten and people, as time goes on, people are having more medical issues relating to what they're putting in their body. And I feel like, you see a lot of people having gluten issues and things like that. So they're going to veer towards cannabis, right? I mean, that just makes sense.
Right.
But I'm sure it goes the other way. I don't know enough about.
Yeah, but as someone who, again, has enjoyed cannabis for, 20 years, call it, I am still have a very light tolerance for it. I smoke a little bit before I go to bed, and that's it for me. There's no way I could socially consume cannabis the way that I can responsibly with beer. I'd be in the corner tucked away, or
Right.
But again, I also enjoy beer responsibly. Different people have different vices and different things that hit them differently.
And I feel like it's going to be legal here. I mean, it's medical here in Maryland. The next governor is probably going to make it legal because of the tax revenue.
Right.
So, I mean, it's going to be federally, it's going to be legal all across the country probably sooner than later just because they want the money.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? And if you're in if you're in Connecticut and you really want to buy it, you just go to Massachusetts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, when I was in Massachusetts, yeah, I was just like, and some of the dispensaries are really nice. So it's like, I think it all ends up working hand in hand, basically.
Yeah, I think eventually there will be consumption lounges. And then I think down the line, call it 10 years from now, you'll be able to, consume both or buy both in the same establishment. And that'd be interesting.
Do you think there'll ever be, I know there's like some CBD beverages now, and then mostly NA. But do you think there's room in the market for like THC beer collabs?
So there's a really interesting movement now on THC based beverages, but not with alcohol in them. That I don't think so. I just, my gut tells me that they will never actually mix the two. But maybe an NA beer with it. But I mean, Lagunitas has it's called Hi-Fi and Lo-Fi, I think.
I've had that. When I was in California, I did have that.
Yeah, I mean, Lagunitas has a brand of cannabis beverages. I think there was a 5 milligram and a 10 milligram. So yeah, I think that there will be more options and more, I think that will expand that segment. And again, it's just a matter for me of consumption. 5 milligrams is my limit for any kind of edible or drinkable or whatnot. So from a social perspective, it depends on your intake, but some people may be able to sip on some of those instead of beer. So I think inevitably there will be crossover with companies and collaboration at some point.
Yeah, that's interesting. I always wonder where that will end up going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just interesting. So
Remains to be seen.
It remains to be seen. So anyway, what else we got? We got all the beers covered. We got the 100-calorie beers covered.
We got the seltzers.
Sure.
We did. Well, we talked seltzers already. I think we ran through the gambit.
We've covered your whole portfolio in less than an hour.
Nice.
And you have a pretty big portfolio. That's impressive.
Yeah, I'm looking over the list of what's coming down to Maryland, and yeah, that covers everything. But it's a really nice mix, and like we talked about, there's different price points, there's different styles, there's variety. Plus, again, I mentioned those limited releases, the Slushy Weiss and the Proud. So there's a lot to choose from.
Do you feel like in Massachusetts is Night Shift considered a hype brewery, or they're not like the Trillium Treehouse level?
I think we merge. I think that we could cover all ground. I think we're one of the OG hype breweries in the area. Like, for example, we just launched in Vermont a few months ago, and we've never been in Vermont, and there's hype. There's definitely hype. We have
those people are tight.
Yeah, we have a good reputation. We have a really stellar reputation within the call it craft beer nerds, call it aficionados, call it, the circle of people who, I remember when I knew I was going over to Night Shift, but hadn't announced it yet. I was talking to someone in Colorado that was saying, oh yeah, I went out to Boston. I got Night Shift. It was awesome. And it made me internally chuckle because someone in Colorado was telling me how cool Night Shift is and didn't even know I worked for Night Shift yet.
Right.
But again, we have a $14.99 12-pack that you could pick up at Whitey's on your way home and don't need to necessarily, wait in line for or seek out so much. I think transcend it.
Do you think that sort of like 5 years ago, Line Life was a thing, and now I feel like Treehouse may be it for that? I don't really think Line Life. I don't know if that's a COVID era related thing or.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
You know what I mean? I don't think Line Life is a thing anymore.
No, I just don't think. I think that there's so many great products available that, do you want to spend a Saturday waiting in line for 3 hours? I mean, and
a lot of them, and honestly, a lot of them with COVID hit market.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe a week later, but they hit market anyway. Because it's like we got to sell beer.
Yeah.
Like you see a lot of breweries, and I don't know how Massachusetts was. I can't imagine it's much different. That they were like they pivoted to package because they had to,
right?
And so now like the package in a packy is like greater than it was 2 years ago by far because all these people. Said, well, we got to sell beer. We got to go into packies.
Right. I know when I said when I mentioned Fiddlehead before, your eyebrows are like, oh, Fiddlehead. They're widely available now. They used to not be, but again, they had to pivot from their model because of COVID, and great, good for them. I think they're now one of the top selling beers in New England. Good for them.
I bet. We were just up last. I use this as probably the best example. When I was in New England, like probably 3-4 years ago, maybe, I was looking for Upper Pass. You could not find Upper Pass anyway. I ended up getting a 4-pack of, I can't remember the name, the double, at Stowe Public House because a guy had it stored.
Mm-hmm.
Like he would like, when it came in, he would put the date on it and he would drink it. Way better than me. He would drink it to see when it fell off, basically, right?
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he was really into it. And he sold me a 4-pack of that Upper Pass. This last summer, I went up. There was a Shell station like half a mile. It was sitting right there on the shelf, Upper Pass. And the price, that's what I will say this thing about Vermont, too. The pricing is very good. For the world-class beers you get in Vermont, the pricing is killer.
Yeah, sure.
Like they're very like $14.99 for Frost.
Oh, that's great.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And
Again,
beers are
people pivot,
all
and people now, you have to be competitive because there's a lot of great options out there.
right. But I just think I feel like everybody pivoted to that. But and for you, right? You were at True Rose in the beginning of the pandemic, and then how was that transitioning to a new brewery in the middle of that?
It's great. I mean, I'm very proud and happy with the 9 years I spent with Two Roads. Some of the best years of my life. I got a world of education. But it was time for me just to make a change, something I could just tangibly have an effect on and work towards growth with. And Night Shift was at the perfect position where they just sold their distributorship to the Shein company group, and they were planning on doing this expansion throughout Shein's network. And I've worked with the Shein company before, who's fantastic. So it was a perfect fit for me, and I'm happy every day I made the move. Again, not to knock what I did because I loved it there, but it was time for a new opportunity, challenge, something.
Yeah, a new challenge. Yeah, a new challenge for sure. It's an interesting time for you to do that, right? Because it must have been a little bit scary because at least the beginning half of it, people were like, everybody had to pivot to figure out what the hell how things were going to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's, like there were issues with aluminum, there were issues with this, issues with that. And so it's just, it was an interesting time. So it's cool that you like basically in the middle of it, because, excuse me, what you're like, how long in it?
December.
Night Shift's like 6 months.
Yeah, it's a new landscape. And, what better way to navigate a new landscape than with a new brand and, a new brand for me, obviously not in general. I've been a fan of Night Shift for 10 years. So it was when the opportunity was there, I jumped at it.
Yeah. And that's great. You have relationships throughout the Shein portfolio and the people involved. So that's cool.
I'm pumped to work with the Legends group again. It's great. I'm really excited
I'm excited to have you back.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm retracing my steps, but with new shoes on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I was excited. I was excited when they said that Night Shift was launching here. I was like, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited for tomorrow too. Pumped for the tasting. Pumped to get down to Maryland again. It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, Meghan, always a pleasure. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. We'll continue that. We'll continue the music talk. I know you have the baby's probably ready to go to bed.
I woke her up with my stocking about a minute ago, actually. So the timing's perfect. She just started crying. So
I heard her, and I was like, all right,
she was sleeping, but Mama's loud, especially with the beer and me.
We got to wrap this up because the baby's crying. Well, enjoy your flight down. I'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Everybody, Meghan will be in store tomorrow afternoon, 4:30. We're going to sample a bunch of, there's no limit. We're going to sample whatever we got of Night Shift beers.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to see you
tomorrow. And I'll definitely see you tomorrow.
Very cool. Thank you so much. Be safe. And I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
All right. So come by tomorrow afternoon, and we are going to check out a bunch of cool beers from Night Shift. So it's exciting. I'll be excited to see Meghan. And so come by tomorrow, 4:30, 6:30. That's when the tasting is going to be. And I want to see everybody tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.